Okay, so I just got out of Blade Runner 2049 at the AMC, the Dolby AMC theater here at Barton Creek Mall. Oh my God, an incredible film, an incredible successor to the first Blade Runner, and it's a mystery. It's a mystery movie. It has that kind of like futuristic noir feeling of the original, and it just transports that into a modern sci-fi movie. Though it's not a modern it doesn't look like a modern sci-fi movie. The trailers, neither the first Blade Runner nor this one have really great trailers that are representative of what the movie's about. This is not a big boom crash modern sci-fi action movie. This movie harkens back to like older movies which like didn't suck, which were not horrible, as opposed to new movies which are all horrible. No, I mean, I'm joking, you know, but I mean it harkens back. It feels like a worthy successor to the first Blade Runner. It really does. It feels like it's a successor to the first Blade Runner, and it feels like if somehow by some cosmic circumstance they would have made a Blade Runner sequel in like 1988 or 1989 or whenever. If they'd made a Blade Runner sequel, it would have looked like this movie. It's such a beautiful film, full of beautiful emotions, and I think it's got one of Ryan Gosling's best performances and all of that. First of all, I want to talk about the theater, the Dolby Theater, because when you see this movie at the Barton Creek Mall, you can see it in IMAX, which is just, you know, a big screen. It's a big old screen. Or you can watch it in the Dolby Theater, and they're about the same price. They're expensive tickets. I mean, if you pre-order, it's almost $20 to go see Blade Runner 2049 in Dolby. And you know, and then and I've seen a lot of videos about Dolby theaters online, but those are like at the Dolby Labs. Those are like, you know, the reference theaters. What's a bog standard theater, Dolby theater in AMC in Austin, Texas look like? Well, I'm going to show you. First of all, AMC, I love going here. I saw Terminator here a few weeks ago, and it's very nostalgic to go to an AMC theater because to me it harkens back to the movie theaters of that I used to go to, movie theaters of the late 80s and early 90s, like mall movie theaters that, you know, that were kind of like, they had a specific look to it. And the whole AMC, the logo, which they've kept their logo throughout the years, is pretty much the same as far as I can tell. I mean, you go into these theaters and it's all these gaudy, you know, I wouldn't say it's gaudy, and it's almost like, it almost feels like it's stuck in the 80s and the early 90s, like that kind of like, you know, it's almost so out of date. It's almost retro, and it's almost cool, you know, to have all of the red AMC thing. And, you know, you got the kiosk for Blade Runner, and you see it in IMAX, and then you've got like this front lobby, and it looks like you're going to an airport or something, you know. And you've got all these little, you know, as with most modern theaters, you have these little kiosks at the front. They have a lot. They've got like about 4 or 5 automatic kiosks. And it's the second time I've been here, and none of these kiosks seem to work. One seems to be glitching. One kiosk, and I swear to God, it's been glitching for the few weeks since I've been here. It like glitches, and it almost is something psychedelic. It again, this whole, you know, it prepares you for the broken down technology of Blade Runner. You're getting into that world by going into a theater like this, and it also reminds me of, you know, again, the theaters, the mall movie theaters, those little shoebox theaters of, you know, Cineplex Odeons and the United Artists of the late 80s and early 90s, where nothing really worked inside. It was just all this kind of crap. And so you go in, and okay, right next to the door, so the IMAX is a regular IMAX theater, but right next door to it is the Dolby theater. It's all black and shiny I mean, if Dolby had to put their brand on a theater, it would be that. My God, of course. They have the plush recliners, and they have this. Well, first of all, I want to talk about the recliners are. Oh. I went to the other theater, the other, I don't know what the hell they called it. It was the 3D theater where they showed Terminator 2. The recliners were beautiful. They went all the way up. They went all the way. They were wonderful. Now you go into the Dolby theater, the supposed reference theater, and they have these little touch screen things, these little touch pad things on the side of your chair where you can go up and down, which, you know, they can never just say up, down. They can never say up, down. It always has to be some confusing fucking diagram that you can't read in the dark. Just tell you up, down, up, down, up, down. No. I mean, it's always confusing. But, and you go up, and it doesn't go all the way up. It just sticks like this. So you're like a little child dangling your feet like this kind of a thing. I mean, it's kind of, the thing kind of goes back, but it's anger. It's angering. It's frustrating. The theater itself, it has, you know, I think the Dolby standard is you've got a Christie laser projection, and then they've got Dolby Atmos sound, which is basically speakers everywhere and sound. I wasn't that really impressed with the Dolby Atmos sound. What I was impressed by is the fact that they have in every seat, they have these transducers, basically like subwoofers, like brrr. So when you hear a sound, it goes brrr, you hear it. And the Blade Runner opens with brrr, and I couldn't, for all my life, the first notes of Blade Runner 2049 will be intertwined with my entire body shaking, brrr, because it's, you know, it's not just your seat, but it's like everybody's seat for like dozens of rows down. So it's like, brr, you feel it. You feel these things kind of echo, these kind of subwoofer things. I mean, because I've been in theaters where there are like 4 or 5, like, called it D-Box. That's another kind of branded thing with subwoofers and chairs and stuff like that, whatever. It may be slightly different technology. But, this thing, all of the chairs are like that, and so, and then you hear. I didn't really notice the sounds going over me. What I noticed is that with every moment, my seat was shaking with the subwoofer and go, you know. And for maybe a regular movie, I would not like that, but with Blade Runner, it's not an ordinary movie, and so it was an incredible experience. They go brrr, and they did have this. There was a weird thing with this, with the track lighting in the theater. It had this really psychedelic blue track lighting, blue green kind of track lighting, and but the thing is that it lit everybody up. When people were walking back to go to the bathroom, which they did a couple times, it's like they're lit up like they're space aliens, like they're about to be taken away in a flying saucer. And when everybody's walking out, you know, you could obviously see that. And then the hallway going in there is lit like that. And it's like, you know, even like there's this little area where they, you know, you throw away the trash, and it's like it's lit that with that blue. It's like I could shoot a whole sci-fi movie in the Dolby theater where I'm watching the movie. It's so it gets you in. If you're gonna watch Blade Runner 2049, I think this is a wonderful theater to do this at. This type of theater, if you're fortunate enough to live near a Dolby theater or to make the pilgrimage nearby. I mean, or an AMC. I guess it's an AMC branded experience, whatever. The whole theater is like, again, like this aircraft hangar, you know, like I was talking about, I've talked about before with AMC theaters. It's, you know, they got the slushy on tap, you know. It's a whole experience to go to an AMC theater. Maybe not worth the price, but I think with Blade Runner, it's worth the price. So going back to the movie, doubling back to the movie, there's mysteries. It's a mystery movie. So I think this whole thing of like, don't tell the story of what happened, when there's some big mysteries you find out early on that you don't want to have spoiled for you. So go in without it, and there, I don't know how you can love this movie. It's this guy, Denis Villeneuve, who is one of the great filmmakers, working with Roger Deakins, who's one of the great cameramen. And the film, the textures of, Denis Villeneuve loves watching people walk, and he loves traveling shots, and he loves, like Sicario, going into Mexico, that whole thing, and just watching people, and the drive up to the the spacecraft flying objects in Arrival. He loves the travel. And this film is, Spinner is beautifully rendered against this incredible backdrop. The texture, the feel, the mysteries. It's quite a film. I feel like I've almost said too much. It almost does feel like Hampton Fancher's influence has been felt in this movie, because, first of all, the movie begins like, it begins with a scene that was originally going to be the original scene in the original Blade Runner, where Deckard retires a replicant. And, I'm not giving away any kind of mystery. I mean, that was Ridley. I don't know. I guess I am, if you're not a big Blade Runner scholar, but that's how Blade Runner was going to originally begin, which is kind of the way the book originally begins. I remember the story. Do androids dream of electric sheep? So there's that, and then Hampton Fancher, how Hampton Fancher, originally wrote the original script, Dark Days. The idea of this movie being in rooms, like a futuristic noir film, like in rooms. You didn't really see the outside. You do see the outside in this film, of course, but it's a movie made within rooms. It's very much like that concept. There's not the pyrotechnic CGI BS of modern films. There does these cityscapes. A lot of them feel like models. I'm pretty sure a lot of them are. And it's weird to see this alternate history where these brands like Seiko and Atari and these things still exist outside, and I mean, these whole billboards with the naked women, it really struck me that that this would probably be a very bad idea, that there would be dirty, degenerate men doing all kinds of things outside to these billboards. You can imagine these naked women billboards, the kind of nefarious activity they would probably attract. I'm not sure if that would work even in the futuristic alternate world of Blade Runner. So I still, my mind was like, people are gonna do nasty stuff to this. It's like, what the hell? But it's such a moment where you see it in the trailers with when the thing does the thing to K. Wonderful. Ryan Gosling as K. Wonderful. Harrison Ford stepping in the foot of Deckard, I think the British say Deckard a lot. It's Deckard, but of course, and then the new characters, Robin Wright's character, and all the, whoa, what a great movie! You got to go see this. This is like one for the history books. This is a good movie. I don't know. Time will tell if it's really that good. If it's really, I don't know. It's a wonderful companion piece to the original Blade Runner, and it's one of the most interesting science fiction movies that I've seen since Arrival. If you want to get honest with me, this guy's making some of the most interesting science fiction movies out there to date. But a great movie, a great experience. And soundtrack is beautiful. It follows in the footsteps of Vangelis, who I guess was not available, and so they got Hans Zimmer and his collaborator to do it. And it's like strength upon that guy. Hans Zimmer is going from the Christopher Nolan films, this film, that. He's created a body of work in the past 10 or 15 years, which is like some really. It's not the melodic stuff of the James Horners and the John Williams, this romantic melodic stuff that you can't really necessarily hum the theme to Blade Runner 2049 when you're walking out of the theater, but it's more of an emotional mood experience type thing, you know. You can hum some of Vangelis' score, and said there are some quotations, of course, in the right moments, but it's not overused. It's beautiful, it's emotional, it's incredible. And it just expands the world that was in the original Blade Runner. It just kind of expands it out. It's a wonderful film.